part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane,
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Waid, writer of Superman Birthright.
You're listening to the Krypton Report.
Welcome to the Krypton Report podcast, your all things Superman and DC Comics podcast. Welcome to episode 500. We didn't plan anything big for 500. You know why? Because of shuffling of other things. Like this one kind of just got put at 500 and we were like, oh snap. So here we are.
I know, right? Like 500, that's kind of huge as a number. Like it really is.
This is my co-host, Mr. James Cole, the Superman of Red. And I'm the Superman of Blue. That's how laid back we are now. Like,
500, what?
Yeah. And I mean, I got thinking about that today. Like, dang, that's a lot. But then I was like, yeah, sometimes we do crazy stuff where we were releasing more episodes because we were trying to cover everything. And then, like when we did Flash Week, we dropped an episode every day for like 8 days. You know, stuff like that helps pump up numbers.
Yeah, or some of Tyler's artist and writer spotlights and character spotlights.
Yep. Instead of making really long episodes, we make, shorter episodes and stuff. So, yeah, I was just thinking about that. And one thing I think for the new year is we'll have, fewer episodes. I think part of that will come down to just how you and I are going to wait and do more comic clusters from the app and not do books as they come out. And
well, certainly like miniseries.
Yeah,
miniseries, like that. But
so they're completed. But the other thing is just we don't have as much DC content coming out. Like we are covering. We had Supergirl, Superman and Lois, My Avenger. We've had a lot of shows that were weekly that we made sure we were covering those episodes along with anything else we had planned. Back when we were covering Krypton and Supergirl, like it was, whoa.
Yeah.
Just happened. But hey, it's all good. Let's get into some news, man.
Well, happy 500.
Happy 500, you old fart. Let's see here. Superman and Lois had nominations for the Saturn Awards, and I believe Bitsy Tulloch actually won Best Actress for it. So, congratulations to Bitsy. And Superman and Lois having some recognition, but the Saturn Awards are weird because, like, Stargirl also got nominated for something, and I'm like, what is this?
Well, when did Stargirl end? In 2023?
No, in 2022. Did you ever watch season 3? No, because you and Brian suck. But I love you both.
Actually, I've been really wanting to jump in and finish it up.
Oh,
so that's going to happen soon.
3. What do you call it? I really loved it, and it's probably we ranked them. It's my number 2 or 3 DC show. Just depends on my mood. Because I have such a love for The Flash. Because, this week was 10 years. I think it was yesterday, actually. Or was it today? 10 years since Barry Allen got struck by lightning. In the episode entitled 3 Ghosts on Arrow. So, wow. It's pretty insane.
Yeah. I mean, heck, I remember that moment just like being like really excited the way they did that.
Yes.
Bringing him in, him being that character for 2 episodes and then going back and getting that lightning strike stinger. That was pretty awesome. It's highly anticipated.
That was probably one of my most anticipated shows ever was for The Flash. And I still go back and I love season 1 and 2 of The Flash so much that just watching the 2 episodes of Grant as Barry Allen, he first showed up, just filled me with Christmas joy. So much Christmas joy. Speaking of joy, McFarlane has a new Superman figure coming out called like Classic, but this just really looks like a cut and paste. It really looks like they just took different parts of all their different Superman figures and put it together with a little bit of a different face mold. Like, it really doesn't look like anything unique.
Yeah, and other than anything else, he's smiling. That's about it.
Yeah. So that's probably one I'm not going to buy. Also, My Adventures with Superman was nominated for a Saturn Award.
Awesome.
Good Pods. Good Pods. Congratulations on being the number 2 Supergirl podcast. In the top 100 Supergirl podcasts of all time chart. So thank you, Good Pods. So that was pretty cool. Like getting that in my email.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
You should check the email, James. Jeez.
I should.
Let's see here. We got officially Nicholas Hoult is Lex Luthor. I didn't know that was not official, but James Gunn finally said it was official. So that was weird.
Yeah, I mean, I did hear something like, it was being like reported by trades and everything, but there wasn't anything actually confirmed. But I guess it was like just making that final deal. You know what I mean? But now that it is officially confirmed, so I'm glad. We talked about that before because we thought it was because it was being reported by the trades the way it was. But yeah, it's great to see. It's great to hear that. Looking forward to, just about anything Nicholas Hoult does. So
yeah. But you know who else got cast in Superman Legacy?
Who's that, Tyler?
Sean Gunn will play Maxwell Lord.
Yeah, I didn't hear that either from James Gunn, so I don't know.
It's being reported by Deadline. But my thing is,
maybe Deadline wanted to do what Screen Rant did and say they were the first to break that.
They just wanted to piss off fans. My thing is, Sean Gunn's a good actor. I've seen him on different things, different stuff, and it's not like Maxwell Lord is, a great character. I mean, Pedro Pascal got screwed over playing Maxwell Lorenzano or whatever. So, a more comic accurate Maxwell Lord, but it's whatever. I don't see him having a major part. I see him more maybe just being some sort of in there for like a scene or two as a foil for Luthor. Well, that tea is hot. Woo!
Interesting. Interesting thought.
Yeah. But what else do we have news-wise? Oh, this one's kind of weird. So, it's weird and because of the timing, I guess. So as of today, DC dropped a bunch of stuff on Tubi. Okay? And basically, it's everything that was just put on Netflix and more. So, here we go. Ready? The Batman, Suicide Squad, Black Adam, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batwoman, Gotham, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, Birds of Prey, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, 84 will hit in 2024. Also available is Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Superman the Movie, Superman 2, I already said that one, and Krypton. So yay
nice.
for Krypton getting a stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still no Superboy though, because that was one of the first things I wanted to check. Like, all right, baby Superboy's back. No. So that was a little frustrating because we wanted to finish our Superboy watch.
Well, I mean, it's kind of cool, these days, honestly, some people are just rolling with the free ones like Tubi and Pluto and stuff. You know what I mean?
I hate
So,
Pluto. I like Tubi. I do not like Pluto.
Pluto I can just set on like I'm watching TV like the old days. You know what I mean? Just put on something on a channel and let it play.
I don't like the way you search and stuff on Pluto. I don't like it. But that's my own thing.
Yeah. But people on those free ones and stuff, I mean, when I'm sure how those things are worked, but
it's whatever DC can do to make money.
Absolutely. Right now. Yeah.
They're selling their stuff to other places. That's basically what they're doing, is so the Netflix. I mean, we'll talk about more of that later in our Christmas special, but yeah. And then last but not least, we are giving away Happy Merry Christmas package from us. We are giving away digital copies of like all the recent DC movies, from Black Adam. No, I'm sorry, from Super Pets all the way up to The Flash. We are giving away a digital copy. All you have to do is leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Like us, join our socials. I will be posting that online. And yeah, it's our movie time giveaway. Just not Blue Beetle as of yet.
Well, you know what? I was just thinking, because I just did a side job, like, maybe I should buy a little something. Maybe I'll buy Blue Beetle there and drop a digital code in there in the pile. Yeah, because I bought it digital, and I did say I'm gonna buy it again, but Christmas season and all that. I hadn't bought the physical yet, but it could be a good time to do that.
I agree.
Yes, sir. Have that ready to go.
So that is all the news I have. Anything else you can think of?
I don't believe so. No, sir.
All right, so moving on, we have some comics to review. It's been a little while. What would you like to look at first, Mr. James?
Oh, what would I like to look at first? Well, let's go with World's Finest number 20. Is there anything you wanted to go last? Which one was your favorite?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite, but
right, start doing. What's your favorite issue this week?
We gotta review more than like 3 issues. So I really gotta think on it, like, you know what I'm saying? This book. Okay, so the art by Dan Mora is amazing. As a holiday read, I recommend reading Dan Mora and Grant Morrison's Klaus. I just reread it. But yeah, let's go into it. We're on the first page of the issue of the comic, James. You see that?
Yeah, I do. The Superman Blue and Superman Red.
Yep. So take us there, James.
Barry's passing through the multiverse. He's talking about the infinite number of parallel Earths, and we get to see a lot of cool images here. A lot of different versions. It looks like the animated series version. Like I said, red and blue Superman, vampires. We got the Dark Knights of Steel. Werewolves, Red Sun, just all kinds of stuff. Flashpoint and Gotham by Gaslight.
Yep. Batman Beyond. And then there's the new Batman Stone Gargoyle at the top, I think.
Oh, yeah? I haven't read that one yet.
I read the first issue. Wasn't impressed. It was overhyped.
But Flash comes back out from the multiverse, and he goes to Batman, Superman, and Robin, and he tells them that he found Boy Thunder.
Which I think Mark Waid's just amazing for pulling this Boy Thunder, like being the catalyst.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, kind of giving some more history around the world of the Kingdom Come story that seminal story that he wrote.
But so Superman, what does Superman do, James?
Well, Superman jumps on the cosmic treadmill carrying Batman to run to parallel Earths. They show up and they can't be seen or heard. And he sees older versions of himself and Bruce and a bunch of dead heroes. Ted Kord, Kara, Ray, and just rows and rows of people, all heroes. Kind of looks like the military.
Like Arlington National Cemetery.
There you go. Couldn't remember the name of the cemetery.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just drinking this really warm tea that Jania made me, and I'm like, this is good, but it's really hot. But yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, to see. Well, I mean, if this is the aftermath of that nuke going off, right?
Exactly.
So, but yeah, they're just they're waiting around. They're kind of observing. They want to see what's going on. They go to the Planet Krypton restaurant.
I wish that was a real restaurant.
Absolutely. I would definitely go there.
I don't care how expensive it is. Like a Hard Rock Hall of Fame where it costs you $20 for a burger and fries. I don't care. I'd still go and eat there. And the food would probably not taste that good. It'd probably just be generic, and I'd still go.
Oh, of course.
We'd meet every week, James.
Yeah, we would. They need to put an hour and a half away from each of us, right in between.
Yeah. For real. It's not that bad of a drive.
Yeah, for real. That's a good drive for dinner.
Yeah.
Once a week.
We'll just do our podcast there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, Kite Man.
Kite Man, hell yeah.
So
I like that they have the that Superman Batman suit in the background there from earlier in the run.
The Batcopter.
Bruce tells him, how he was able to adopt Dick, with his money and donations and endowments and everything, and that he wouldn't actually be able to legally adopt. I can't remember his name.
Who's that?
I read this a couple of weeks ago when it dropped on here, so. Boy Thunder, the character's name, other than
Boy Thunder.
Yeah. I was trying to remember the character's, the actual name he went by.
I think it's interesting he can't adopt him, but yet later all we see is Superman just adds people to his family out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're on Earth.
Anyways, as he's being called now as Thunderman, looks like he's grown up considerably since he's been on this Earth.
Earth 22.
Earth 22, yes.
Yeah.
And he is facing off against Atom Master. And as we know from, like, reading Kingdom Come, like, heroes on this Earth, especially, like, the younger generation that had come up and everything, were like Judge, Jury, and Executioner. They would kill supervillains and things. Cause lots of collateral damage, property damage. But Atom Master changes the Earth underneath Superman. He shows up because he heard him, heard Thunderman, and he shows up, and Atom Master turns the ground underneath Superman into kryptonite. And when Batman shows up, gasses her, and Thunderman uses his powers and looks like he's melting Atom Master's helmet on her head, like frying her head.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, all this time, I mean, I'd given up hope that this day would ever come. I'm so glad you're finally here. I've been waiting years for this moment. And he starts electrocuting Superman.
Dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm. Next, Doppelgangers.
That'll be issue 21. It should be coming out sometime soon.
Yeah, pretty soon. Like I said, this issue dropped the 17th. So honestly, we would get this World's Finest 21 dropping probably next week on the app.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next, this is our last week for more quote unquote current comics.
Yeah, because after the new year, most of our coverage of comics will be as they drop on the app. Yeah.
So let's start with, you want to do Action 1059?
Sure.
All right. Action 1059.
Got this awesome cover with Superman and Steel, both in their metal uniforms and their metal suits.
Yeah, I didn't get that one. Jania actually got me an alternative cover that she liked of Superman saving a plane.
Oh, nice. Well, this is that's the basic cover, and that's what's on online for me to read.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't picked up any books in a couple of months.
It happens.
So
yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm gonna
off.
be on this, and then I'll be pulling a few trades now and again, but that's all I'm gonna be doing for a little while.
So we have bank robbers getting away, and then we have people flying who come down and crush them in the car, and it says, "We're Blue Earth, and we don't surrender." New Worlds Part 3. And
so we don't do surrender. Like, they're gonna give up, and they're like, "Nope, we're just gonna we're gonna kill you." Basically,
and Superman shows up in his steel suit of armor with a sword with steel, and they start fighting the Blue Earthers. Then the rest of the Super Family shows up and stops the Blue Earthers. And then people are recording it. Okay. But the most important part is Otha Ray disappears and ends up talking to the head of Blue Earth in like some weird trance, because then they're like, "Snap out of it. What are you doing?" And she's holding like a triangle pendant. And I'm like, okay. Then we find out
kind of like an arrowhead almost.
Yeah. Superman's getting his powers back on space station that's like more powerful than the sun, so it's supposed to recharge him faster. And of course, Superman's like, "I'll wait to recharge later." And then you find out that the footage has been doctored, so it looks like the Kryptonians were attacking the Blue Earthers and not stopping them. And okay, so this is what pisses me off. I'll say this. In her interview, she says, humans servicing humans. We don't need aliens. They're not humans. You're giving powers to humans that are based off the aliens. There's really not a big difference between what the Blue Earth and what the Kryptonians are doing. It's not humans servicing humanity.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's pissing me off with this whole Blue Earth thing is it's not like it's an organization of people who are trained. They're basically just giving them Superman powers and saying, "Oh, we're human," but yet you're not operating or acting like you're human.
Oh no, they're not. I mean, the doctored footage is like one of the main things. Like, they're doing everything in their power to discredit Superman and the supers. With the powers that they have, they can make things look bad, and especially the way they are able to kind of change the footage and make it look as though the supers are committing this stuff. I mean, they're kind of just swaying public opinion, you know?
Right. But I'm just saying, like, you can't say it's humans protecting the planet when these humans have powers. You know,
well, that's their whole thing, though, is, you know, no aliens. So, I mean, yeah, they're stealing alien powers, but I mean, that's not, and that's clearly not what's being proponed out there either.
But I'm still saying it'd be if it was Batman who has no powers, or like Green Lantern, or the Flash, whose powers came from an accident. It's different than people who are using the exact same powers of the aliens they're trying to stop. So
yeah,
it's not like it's a. I wouldn't feel like, okay, if you're a human, how do you have these powers? So, how are you humans protecting humans with the powers? Like, where are you getting them? So, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it. I mean, Steel.
Well, I mean, the way that they've talked about it is radiation processing nanobots. Something that is able to replicate the Kryptonians' powers in humans. So they're lying straight out to the public, saying that we've created a way to give people these powers, humans, to protect humans and not rely on aliens. So, and that's what they're doing in the face of the public.
Yeah.
When
I just think it's a dumb story. Like, I just think it's one of those things that just seems like it's been done before. People, you know, giving powers to the aliens and stuff, or trying to do it, but I don't know.
Right. Well, we find out that the leader of Blue Earth is actually Bruce and Talia's daughter from another universe, back in Batman Superman The Authority Special #1.
That's a deep pull.
Yeah, that's a ways back.
And that's one of those, like, if you weren't reading it, and she's after Otho, and she pulls Otho to her world. And yeah, very interesting.
Well, that's one of those worlds where Bruce became a bad guy, and he took on the role as head of the Demon.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, it's a very dangerous prospect.
The next issue is in between what is and what is not, where it's Kong Kenan. Now, I've heard his name pronounced Kenan, and I've heard Keenan. They even say it in here, so I'm kind of curious what his name is. He's in kind of the limbo mid-ground with his master, having discovered that Superman's identity, where he's supposed to be dead thanks to Luthor, and then he wakes up. And he's talking to the twins, and he's telling everything to Connor, and he's explaining. And then the Batman of China shows up. He's a Robin bot. They start fighting. And then basically, the long and short of it is Keenan basically has to lie to Batman and tells him the Supes are my team now. You'll have to go through me if you want to investigate them. But he says, I need you to trust me. His Batsy even says Keenan with a double E. It's very interesting. He just can't. He said Batman talks to Robin Bot that Batman would deduce what's going on, figure it out, and then have the same thing happen to him. And then the last thing is, a few days later, he says, so I joined the Super Family officially. They even gave me a cool new jacket. It fits great. And you see him sad because of what happened. So I like that one.
Yeah, that was a good story. Like I did like how he is forced to choose the way he is so that way he can protect his friend.
And then the last one is Superman, John Kent, in a Heart in Metropolis. This one was okay. Like, I don't know. Like, I get it. It's just about John trying to live his life with Jay and balance everything. But I don't know. You can take this one, James.
He's babysitting his two new younger siblings, the Philosian twins. And he has a little conversation. He lets them stay up 30 minutes past their bedtime. He's talking with Lois. They're discussing, obviously, him watching the kids and the time that they missed out with him. But then he is messaging Jay, and he's talking to him. Jay is working at Steelworks. As I believe it was the head of publicity. I know they said what he did in this issue, but so they're talking, they're just messaging each other, and then the next day he goes to have lunch with Jay. They're having a good time. They go for a little flight, and then there's some explosions start going off, and he sets Jay down, and John goes in to join the fray. And these are scenes that take place during the events of Steelworks number 3. So we saw all that craziness going down.
Because of course, keep jumping back and forth through time really makes it easy to read.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of the struggle with these backup stories, just being randomly placed in time. Like if these things unfolded a little more linearly, I bet it'd be a little easier to follow.
Yeah, it kind of it'd be nice if they were more linear, but whatever.
Well, because the Keenan story takes place between 1050 and 1051.
Yeah,
which was 9 months ago.
Right.
10 months ago now.
Yeah, it's confusing. But
so, and then this one happens with Steelworks number 3, which was only about 3 months ago.
It's pretty crazy.
So then Superman, after everything's all said and done, he goes back to Jay to finish their date, and Superman and Clark are out there, and Lois is trying to. She's being inquisitive as a reporter and overly concerned about her son as a mother.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's all as all good moms would.
yeah. So it was just a nice little. I mean, as a backup story, it's okay. We haven't had John outside of action in a couple of months.
I know.
So since before Night Terrors, or right when Night Terrors came out, there hasn't been a John Kent book going on since then.
All right. Next book. Excuse me. Superman number 8. Ooh.
Chained.
So what are you thinking about this so far?
I know, so we did talk about the tactile telekinesis, and this being the origin of it, and it was a power given to Superboy to replicate Superman's Kryptonian powers in a way. He has them, but he doesn't have them to that degree, and the tactile telekinesis is to help with that.
Yeah. So what you're saying is they're listening to me complain and about tactile telekinesis, and they are like, you know what?
Sounds like Williamson listens to the second top Supergirl podcast.
So it looks like somebody listens to me rant.
Yes. It's like Tyler's corner grinds his gears.
You, tactile telekinesis, you. But
You.
we start learning about the past, and that it's Sammy Stryker. And we see a somewhat
son of the founder of Stryker's Penitentiary.
Mm-hmm. And he's wearing his suit. The Chained. It's kind of a cool name. It's not bad. I like how there's the history lesson of Lex, and we see the different errors of Lex from recent comics.
Yeah, where Graft and Farm kind of give him the history of who Lex has been.
Mm-hmm. And you have Superman. Lex now has a watch, and we have Lena and Lex's daughter, which is still weird. And she likes the Black Canaries. We see the Chain get Superman and Connor, and they go flying out. And then they kind of stop and bust his chains up. Lex is talking all the way. Lex gets chained. He's yelling, "Save me." And then Clark shows up in this really weird suit with kryptonite gloves, I guess. And punches Sammy. He's mad because he's defending Lex. And then they battle, and the suit gets damaged. And Sammy is like, "You can't beat me." Clark's like, "I don't need to." And then Connor shows up, and they basically re-imprison the Chained. and some weird, looks like they just Christmas ribbed him.
Mhm.
And then at the end, the last is "I saved Lex," and it's Clark laying there with like kryptonite all over him, and he looks iridescent.
Yeah, very, very heavily kryptonite poisoned.
Only one thing can save Superman now: super armor. I'm like, didn't we just see super armor in the last book? You know, from Steel.
Right.
And I'm like,
and that was because his powers were drained, and we kind of seemingly, maybe it's through magical means, with that little crystal that she wears. Given that we saw the way she kind of grabbed onto the Enchantress, that being the frame from that issue, I think maybe that they were trying to reference. So magically drained his powers.
So I think that's an editor's fail of like, there's too many similarities in the two stories because the editor is very important. As a conversation I had at GalaxyCon with Dan DiDio. I actually talked to, the guy who used to run DC Comics, who's now doing his own comics with Frank Miller. And I got to chat with Dan DiDio for a little bit. And I asked him about his Trinity. And he told me a little bit about the Question, because the Question was supposed to be a big reveal. And about what the Question's sin was. So that was cool. But I asked him some different things about, titles and new creators and stuff coming on, and how much the role of the editor plays into it. And he was telling me that that's how, a good editor does. And I'm just thinking the editor is not really paying attention to what the writers are plotting.
Yeah, could definitely seem that way.
But that's just part of it, because last weekend I was at GalaxyCon and hosted a panel, and it was pretty awesome. Fellow listener got to meet finally. Brad was there. He recorded it. He's going to send me a copy of it. And I bring this up because a lot of cool celebrities were there. I got to see and kind of like acknowledge their existence, but didn't have time to like wait in lines and meet everybody I wanted to. But got to talk really shortly with Robert Venditti, who writes the Superman 78. The guy, I guess, who was in front of me was ripping on it. So when I walked up to say, hey, I enjoyed it, and I was telling about that, I preferred reading it as one collection instead of individual issues, he was like, well, this guy didn't enjoy it at all. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I was like, yeah, I'm kind of waiting to read the new one, as one collection. And I guess Mr. Venditti was not in a great mood because he didn't seem very talkative or interested. So I was like, all right, peace. And I walked away. But yeah, that was an interesting interaction. I was like, okay. Yeah, I didn't get to really chat with you, and but I always feel bad like going up and trying to talk to people, and you're like, hey, I don't want to buy anything right now because I already own everything that's on your table.
Right.
It's like, hey, or like you're just like, hey, I just want to meet this person because I want to meet them. I don't, I can't like buy a $20-$30 autograph or picture from everybody I want to meet at the con. Like, it's just not possible. But yeah, our panel was funny because I had technical, somehow my presentation for the 85 years of Superman was deleted off my computer. I didn't realize it. And when I went to download it, it didn't want to download. So I just did my presentation I was supposed to do last year that I didn't get to do this year. So it all worked out nicely with a nice presentation. Yeah. It was a good time.
All right, yeah. It sounds like a good time.
Wish James was there. I hate going to things by myself, but
I do too.
He's too busy saving the world.
I was very busy.
What James does on the weekends, people. All right, Justice League action. All right. So this is what I've been kind of doing some research. I don't know if are you listening to the rewatch podcast for Justice League with Susanna Eisenberg. Crap, I can't remember what it's called. Off the top of my head, I'm drawing a blank.
I did see something about that coming out, but I don't know what it's called.
Justice League Revisited. So I've been listening to it, and in one of the episodes they talk about how different streamers had different orders of episodes because they were broken down by some were showing them in air date, and some were showing them production order. So I feel like that's kind of where we're at, where we're getting kind of mixed up on how IMDb had stuff listed compared to what's on your and I's ownership of the digital content.
Yeah.
So without further ado, James, name one of the episodes of Justice League Action you watched, and let's talk about it.
The first episode I watched was Plastic Man Saves the World.
This was a great, fun episode. I watched with Solomon, and we had a blast. But did it remind you a little bit of like the greatest story never told, the Booster Gold episode from Justice League? A little bit, where like, you know, Plaz is doing kind of stuff, and just the way everybody talks about Plaz and doesn't really consider him
right.
Anything.
I mean, in a manner of speaking, yeah, in those being like similar aspects of each episode. But Plastic Man is, by nature of the character, like the way he's written and then the way he's even played up that way in the cartoon, because it's like so accentuated, that this was comedic in a very different way than that.
Yeah,
he's a very different character.
I enjoy Plastic Man in this show a lot.
Oh, I agree. I agree entirely. It was really fun.
You know, the crux of it being that on Brainiac's attacking and on the list, Plastic Man's only like a 4, like his of like 100 is his.
Yeah, like a threat level or a threat level.
Threat level midnight. And Plaz is just so bummed out that he's like so ranked so low. And then by the end of the episode, like Brainiac's pissed and like puts Plaz as a what do you call it? Like a 84 or something.
Yeah.
He's like, did you guys hear that? I'm an 84. So yeah, it was a fun episode.
Yeah. I love that he took down Brainiac.
Yeah.
That he thwarted Brainiac from stealing Metropolis.
Well, like he
saved a bunch of bottled cities.
Yeah,
he saved Kandor. Yeah,
and he spit them all back up because he's rubber. Just shows you how no one really understands Plastic Man's powers.
I mean, he can do. I mean, how they in The Dark Knight 2, it was. Plastic Man was like the most dangerous, most powerful character. And like he can do just about anything. Like in Injustice 2 in the book, you know, he has a son, and his son is very good. Like he can transform into anything, but not as good as his father was. It's like Plastic Man is kind of revered by some people, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. All right, next episode.
It was Rage of the Red Lanterns.
Otherwise known as James on a Wednesday night.
Only Wednesday. Can only go like
rage
Red Lantern Rage one night.
So Lobo stole the ring from the Red Lanterns and pits Atrocitus, Zelias, and the rest of the Red Lanterns against Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in order to get a score. After Lobo unlocked the giant Spider Gauntlet's power, the Justice League and the Red Lanterns must team up to defeat him. I'll let you take the lead on this one, James.
I mean, you got it right there. You nailed it. That's the whole thing. Lobo is on the run. He seeks like sanctuary with the Justice League, and they like protect him from the Red Lanterns, Atrocitus, and all of them. And got Dexstar here, the cat, and everything. It was interesting. It was fun. Like he stole the 4 Red Lantern rings, so he used them to fight, and then the Justice League fought the Red Lanterns, and then he got the Spider Gauntlet. Just this really powerful gauntlet that he used, and he was fighting them, and they took him down.
It's always good when we have Jason J. Lewis, showing up. Our man here. Our favorite Superman who doesn't get no credit, but whatever.
Yes, sir.
I'm not a huge, I like the Red Lanterns, but I'm not a huge fan of the Red Lanterns all the time. Because now just the Green Lanterns have just kind of become, oh, so he's either fighting the Red Lanterns now, so the yellow, it's always just the same power, just a different color. Am I right?
I mean,
am I right?
I mean, you're not wrong. Kind of. It was interesting the way they used them, but trying to do the story after story, it's kind of like you said, the same powers, just different colors. When they write in the things around the powers, the reason they exist, that's kind of how the stories tend to be a little more interesting.
I agree. All right, James. Which one's next?
Freezer Burn.
So, let me tell you a funny story about Freezer Burn. When I was in college, many years ago, I had a roommate in college. I want to highlight that, okay? Who popped some popcorn and burned it, and it was on fire. So he took the popcorn and threw it in the freezer to stop it. Later, while drinking some water, our ice all tasted funny and weird because it tastes like burnt popcorn. That person's name will remain anonymous, but if they're listening, they know who they are.
Wow.
I still love him. It's a fun story.
So is it ashy popcorn? Did it burn? Stay on
it
fire?
In the bag. So it started burning in the bag. So he threw the whole bag of microwave popcorn into the freezer.
I wonder what the thought process on that is.
Hey, it's all good.
What does a freezer do? No, freezer burn, I get it, yeah.
Mr. Freeze flies on his aircraft to freeze the entire Gotham City using Killer Frost as his power source. While Batman deals with Mr. Freeze, Firestorm will have to save Killer Frost and develop a crush on her at the same time. The heat is on!
Oh, yeah, I thought that was a great part of the episode. Every time he basically said it as a catchphrase.
I love Firestorm in this. But what did you think of this one?
I liked it. Very much like Plastic Man, and even the Red Lanterns. I really enjoyed this episode.
Firestorm, I feel like, is one of those characters that just pop in this series compared to like other characters that just feel the same. Like this one, I don't know. It just feels like it works.
Yeah, I like the comedian who voices Professor Stein.
Yeah. Always giving him crap.
Yeah.
I like seeing when the Killer Frost what do you call it? Killer Frost and like Mr. Freeze and stuff like together. I always like that.
Yeah. Seeing characters of similar power sets.
Yeah.
Working together like that.
Yeah, like it's always cool.
And it was kind of like working together, but then he like used her. Took her power. I wouldn't say took her power, but harnessed her power.
It's always funny when like the hero falls in love with like, villain. Too. So that always makes me smile too. But that's just us. And the last one you watched, James?
And the last one I watched was The Trouble with the Truth.
All right. I didn't watch that one. What number was that one?
In my order, it's number 18.
See, this is why we have to do it this way. Yeah, I don't think I have that one listed. Yeah, in my order, for my IMDb, it's number 24.
Dang.
So what number do you have Bottle City of Candor?
Give me 1 second. Bottle City of Candor is episode 21.
Okay, weird. All right. So, all right, James. Trouble with the Truth. The JLA finds themselves in danger of losing Wonder Woman when the goddess Athena comes to Earth with an offer Diana can't refuse, filling the position of the goddess of truth on Mount Olympus. James, take it away because I didn't watch this one.
I mean, so they were just. Damn it! I watched this episode twice. Now I can't remember because it was a handful of days ago. I mean, the thing I remember most about this episode is Green Arrow and Athena, goddess of war, firing their bow and arrows, and Green Arrow doing his thing, and like Artemis making him look pale in comparison. He shoots his bow, takes out one person. She shoots her bow and drops like 6 with one shot.
Poor Ollie.
So it was that was the best part of the episode.
All right, you hear from James first, people. All right, next time we're going to do Double Cross and the Bottle City of Candor, or the Bottled City, which is about Candor, and Inside Job.
Okay. Those are the next 3. Inside Job, Double Cross, and Bottle City of Candor. Or Battle for the Bottled City.
Yep, Battle for the Bottle City.
Yep, those are my next 3 in that order.
All right, so that's what we're doing. We'll be on the same page. But all right, everybody, we made it to 500. Next week's episode is going to be our commentary on Aquaman. Then we'll catch you back for Aquaman 2 and a little holiday surprise. So remember,
Look up in the sky.
we just want to say if you've enjoyed this podcast, please check out other podcasts on the Press Play Podcast Network.
If you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough Super Talk, check out these other podcasts. Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, The Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope.
Remember to check out Krypton Report on all social media platforms. Go to linktree.com/Krypton Report. You find all of our
What's up, everybody? Chase Smith here from the Chase Smith Podcast and Cavs on the Break NBA Podcast.
And I'm JD, host of the Hyman Podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network, and we are super excited to bring you a brand new show starting next Tuesday, the Fanfare Podcast.
The Fanfare Podcast is all about your favorite movies and our favorite movies and the best moments in cinema. To help guide our discussion, each episode will feature one classic, and we will grade this movie using a report card-like scale A through F. We're going to be grading categories like acting, directing, cinematography, the score, and even the movie poster itself.
And when we're not featuring a movie report card, we'll be sharing our movie rankings, franchise deep dives, actor and director interviews, and everything in between. Movies have been a major part of our lives, and we cannot wait to share our thoughts with you.
Our premiere episode will drop Tuesday, June 27th, and JD and I will be reviewing Raiders of the Lost Ark in preparation of the release of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on June 30th, the 5th installment of the franchise.
Join us on the Fanfare Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
Here at Krypton Report, we believe in the power of podcasting, the power of speaking your voice and speaking something that comes from you. So here's a couple of podcasts you can check out, the people sharing their voice.
I am Brian Peters, the creator and host of Gravely Amusing. For the past 30 years, I've studied the history of gods and monsters in pop culture and our world. As a student of theology and history, I've tried to understand evil and its impact on us. As a writer, I've tried to share this knowledge. As a comedian, I've tried to make people laugh as I do it. But as a man-child, I'm still that scared 7-year-old boy. Join me as I share the history of horror and sci-fi, discuss classic and modern pop culture, and share a creepy story or two. This podcast may scare you, it may horrify you, or it may leave you gravely amused. Listen to Gravely Amusing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever podcasts are found. Follow us on Twitter at Gravely_Amusing or on TikTok at Gravely Amusing.
Hi, I'm Taria Maynard, and this is my co-host, Jania Patrick. We're a couple of sisters in Central Ohio who created a podcast. Our podcast is called The Confessing Heretics.
The basic premise of the podcast right now, as we see it, is we're going to talk to you guys about our stories in religion, would you say?
This podcast is about sharing our truths, our religious traumas, and our histories. We'd love for you to join us on our journeys as we talk about our pasts and discover more about ourselves along the way. We will be featured on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just look for The Confessing Heretics.
We have a $1 Patreon. Yes, I know everyone asks for money, but our $1 Patreon each month gets you commentary tracks for releasing movies, DC movies. It gets you my Requel series where I pitch ideas about movie sequels, prequels, or whatever. It also gets special bonus episodes of whatever else some of the friends of the network chime in and drop. So check that out for $1 a month. That's all we ask. Keep it cheap, keep it simple, and help us keep going. Check out the link in the show notes or Patreon, Krypton Report.
Follow the link in the link tree or in the show notes below, patreon.com/Krypton Report.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.